What's up, guys? We missed the exit for that lockout, and it was delaying us an additional 30 minutes. And this guy was closer with the Ford F450, so we're picking that up right now. What's wrong with it?
So my speed decrease, my chicken light came on.
Okay.
Go to 35.
Okay, I'm gonna drive it right up. Grab my phone. Forgot to set myself on scene. Truck is long. Let's see if I get it on here in a good spot. Yeah. Something like this. Yeah. These beds aren't rated for that much. They're only rated for, well, most of them are rated for like 10,000.
Yeah.
This one's rated for 12. They have been making them, I've seen 15,000 now. Yeah, but it doesn't make sense because the gross vehicle weight, you're gonna exceed it. know what the weight is on this?
I don't.
This is probably the heaviest I've.
Really?
Yeah. I'm gonna say it's probably over 12,000 pounds. Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. This thing's heavy. My bed didn't even want to tilt up.
I saw the front tire coming.
Well, I put the wheel lift down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see the wheel lift is almost on the ground. If I didn't put that down, it would have lifted the front up. Yeah, this thing's got some weight to it.
The longest one ever?
All these utilities are usually all about the same.
Yeah.
I've done a 23 Ram already.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing, utility bed. This is probably the biggest I would put on the bed. You can hop in. Just gotta shut the truck off. Hit the road. We're not going too far with this, and we gotta go do a lockout first. So I tightened up that winch line just in case. You know what? Let me close this guy's window. See, he's got papers in here and stuff. See you guys in the queue at that lockout. What's up, guys? We're at the drop off. Sorry I didn't record the whole thing. I had to take my camera off for that lockout. It was starting to aggravate me. The camera was getting in the way. I had the sun reflection off the window. I couldn't see into the car. And the turnout was that her keys weren't even in there. I don't know if you need anything out of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get all my tools. One of our
Alright.
trucks got broken into over here.
Here?
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
It's not the best area.
Yeah.
And I don't even think that they really have...
Yeah, supposedly they put new security cameras.
yeah, no, if you look around, they don't have anything.
Yeah, exactly. Get all my tools out.
And I guarantee you people already know that.
Yeah, exactly.
You got somebody coming here with another truck?
Well, I got my wife coming to pick me up, and then I guess I'll just get a printer tomorrow or something.
They don't give you loaners?
Yeah, they'll give us rentals. Yeah, but we usually have another truck at our campus in Durham, but somebody else is using the guy who has this truck here now. So,
Is using that loan?
exactly.
Okay, gotcha. So they do have trucks you guys can rent,
Yeah.
but you gotta pay for them.
You say what?
You gotta pay for them out of pocket.
No, not us. Power Street does it, yeah.
Like the company.
Yeah, the company does it.
Still sucks because if a truck's under warranty, they should be giving it to you.
It's nice to get a window. Like, that's not weekends. So,
Yeah. And they pay for the
it's
fuel.
not everywhere.
They pay for the fuel, right?
Oh yeah, they pay for the fuel and everything. So,
Man, I had a company that was like that with me.
Say what?
I had a company that was like that with me when I had a job at one point. And they told me to take it home and whatever. Then they started complaining. They knew where I lived too. Then they started complaining that too many miles were getting added onto the truck. I'm like, bro, you knew where I lived prior to you telling me to take it home. They were trying to cut down the budget. That's what it was.
Trying to save some money.
Yeah. But the yard manager who did nothing all day, he just tells people what to do. He was coming out from the same area. The company would pay for his fuel and his personal car. I got a work van. You're telling me to take it home, so that way if I'm coming into work and you got a job for me to go to en route to work, I don't gotta go to the yard and pick it up. I could just go straight to the job.
Yeah.
So now you're complaining about the mileage, but you're paying for his fuel when he could just, I mean, that's part of it, you know. You drive your own car to work, you pay for your own fuel. If you're giving me the company truck, you're not gonna start complaining now. Well, that company went out of business. Probably about maybe a year after I stopped working there, they went out of business. That same kid that I was telling you that was the yard manager there, he was always the type that he wanted to drive the trucks that were in the yard. He always wanted to hop in them and move them around.
Yeah.
He didn't have a CDL and he didn't have no experience driving those trucks. So whenever I was there and my partner, he would never let him touch the trucks. Me and him would always move the trucks out of the yard and pull them back in the yard at the end of the day. He never got to do anything.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Once I left there and the guy Al was busy with us, this kid would jump in the pull it out. They ended up buying a concrete pump. You know, the big long trucks that pump the concrete. He decides to hop in it one day to pull it out of the yard just because he wanted to be in the truck, man, and pull it out. Well, it was in Brooklyn in New York, and over there you got buildings everywhere, everything's tight. He pulled out of the driveway, he started turning way too early. There was a brick wall. You know how you ever seen the big garages?
Yeah.
That's a metal door?
Yeah.
But then they got brick over the top, and then the walls are all brick?
Yeah.
Man, he turned too soon, and the whole back of the truck swung, hit the wall, knocked the whole wall down. This guy, Nicky, that I used to work with, he would always park his truck on the sidewalk right next to that wall, and sometimes he'd hang out in his truck. Bro, he was in his truck when this guy knocked that wall down. He had to climb out of the passenger side to get out. He almost got crushed in that truck. And they let him stay there. And then the last straw for the company was he went to Honduras or El Salvador or something to go visit family. He invited everybody out to eat and paid with the company card. couple of $1,000s. And that was the last straw. Like after that.
Yeah.
That's when the company went out of business after that too. So they'll complain about mileage getting added onto the van when they already knew where I lived and they told me to take it. Yeah. And then you guys doing that stuff. Or on their lunch break going to eat, and then they go and drink, come back and operate the machines. Guys, I'll see you on the next video.